None of that was true. The CNA stuff, the pods, the way out.
A fabrication of my incredible world-building skills.
What?
You dirty liar! You scumbag!
The major takeaway from the latest lore about the Amazing Digital Circus, Caine's lies are the foundation to the horror of the digital realm. But if that foundation is cracked, there's a chance that our beloved characters can yet survive. Hello, my name is Ryan the Comm. Episode 7 has certainly shown us new lore tidbits and absolutely demolished some theories out there. In this analysis of Episode 7, I'm not just doing a recap of the show, I'm presenting a full theory about how the Amazing Digital Circus will end. If you haven't seen the series, spoilers ahead. Don't get me wrong though, this episode still hasn't shaken my theory that there is no way out for the characters of the Amazing Digital Circus. In fact, it strengthens it. Before we talk about episode 7 in detail, I really need to talk about Jax and how he almost abstracted. I think what happened to Jax, at least regarding him almost abstracting, is just that. He almost abstracted. Earlier in episode 7, Jax encounters the mother of all digital hallucinations. Alone in his room, he comes across a vision of Ribbit reaching around this triangular hole, this shadow in the corner of his room. It's like Jax is suffering from a visual sleep paralysis episode, and the demon is Ribbit. Thanks to my buddy Crew Styles for pointing this one out. Did you notice the mirror behind Ribbit's arm as they're reaching out to touch Jax? It's weird how there isn't a reflection of Ribbit, right? It could be further proof that Ribbit is a mental hallucination brought on by Jax himself. The next scene is psychedelic in nature. This kaleidoscope environment envelops a naked Jax, and the whole time Jax is like this curious 3-year-old toddler, watching and even accepting what's happening as it all unfolds. What's interesting to me is that the kaleidoscope environment changes. Kaufmo and Ribbit's heads are evident at first, but you can see copies of Jax's head in the sequence too, like he's dipping into the pool of broken consciousness that could be where the abstracted characters now reside in. And of course, just like with how Pomni saved Gangle.
Hey, you know, I can close for you if you want. Huh?
She saves Jax from abstracting. Pomni's interruption was at the cusp of the process, I think. I mean, notice how Jax's eyes are slightly different from the normal eyes of an abstraction. Swirled pupils. In Gangle's case, I think she was just about to slip into the hallucinatory environment that abstraction must make you slip into. Going back to Jax, I could tell that he was annoyed at Pomni's interruption.
Way to interrupt my nap.
Can we talk?
I think he really wanted to get back into bed, to try abstracting again. It's like how some people have near-death experiences in real life, how they want to relive that same experience again. In any case, I wonder what Kaufmo's abstraction experience was like. Did he abstract as he was writing his notes and drawing the demonic Caine on the wall, or did he wind down after and abstract in bed, like Jax almost did? The important part is that we now know the true process of abstraction through Jax, but I still have questions regarding this purple rabbit and his mental state. How did Jax get to the point of almost abstracting? Why is he getting these symptoms more than the other characters?
All right. Convince me.
Jax, as of late, has been having nothing but bad luck for the past few episodes, but I think it all started for him in episode 4, when Gangle took him to do an employee reevaluation after Jax gave her a sassy attitude.
First things first, are you smiling?
No.
Why not?
Wait, nobody can see this, right?
It's time for your employee reevaluation.
I think with Caine's help, Gangle helped Jax get on board with being an employee of Spudsy's. Would Jax, in his right mind, actually do this? Especially when he said he didn't care about this in the first place. Caine's hand pats Jax's head in episode 4, just like how he did with Bubble in episode 7, after Bubble learned his lesson to not swear.
You should throw a freaking beach party.
Good boy.
And if not in episode 4, the Jax's real downfall happened when the players voted to make him vegan.
1 down, 4 to go.
All right, I'm calling a vote. Let's skip this one. And also make Jax a vegan for the rest of the day.
You can't do that. What do you mean you can do that?
Sorry, Jax. Democracy has spoken.
I'm serious here. This was the first major instance of mind manipulation that Caine helped to enforce upon a player. That we could see, at least. Not to mention the modifications to Jax's body. I'm not just talking about the Maid scene either, though that is part of it. I'm really talking about Jax's tail.
Think we all look weird.
Excuse you. This is what peak male performance looks like. My ears and tail are kind of the pinnacle of masculinity.
You don't have a tail.
What are you talking about? Yes, I do. What the? Where's my tail? How long have I not had my tail?
I have never seen you with a tail.
When would that have even...
Jax was so sure he had a tail, even though it had been missing since episode 1. You could call it a convenient character update, or you could call it clever writing that introduces the idea that Caine forgot to switch a particular setting of Jax back on. Because remember, Caine just admitted he could adjust certain character settings to make adventures more fun.
The stupid sauce! The vegan thing! God knows what else!
Our names?
Now, hold on, guys. Wait. I may have the ability to add temporary modifiers to make adventures more interesting, but that's it.
It wouldn't surprise me that Caine forgot something so important but so minor on Jax's body. After all, Gangle and Zooble were turned into animals in episode 5. It wouldn't take much to forget character details after designing so many adventures.
I do not use my adventures to torture my guests. Any torment I inflict is 100% accidental, like any good war criminal.
We weren't even talking about that. I really couldn't give less of a crap about the adventures.
Then what is your problem, Zooble? I'm trying my best to remember, but both you and my brain won't tell me.
Combined with his regrets over the loss of Ribbit. Thanks for that quip, Ragatha.
Do you have any actual friends?
Not anymore. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about that. That wasn't meant to be.
Then there's the intermission scene that a frustrated Caine foisted onto the players. Much of this wonderful piece of art is abstract in nature, and that is exactly the problem. I also talk about this in my digital disease video, link to that video here, but I still ask this question. When did the players take these photos exactly? It's like Caine plucked Pomni, Zooble, and Jax into a different dimension of time, asked them to pose for photos, and then snapped them back into real time just to do this intermission. And of course, it's Zooble that comes to Caine asking why they're even there.
Caine, what are we doing right now?
We're intermissioning.
Why? Hello?
And now back to the show!
Going back to Jax, who's clearly had his mind messed with in episode 6, with Caine's mind meld explanation.
Wait, what am I doing? I wasn't paying attention. Oh.
And then Jax gets an anxiety attack over his fight with Pomni.
Why didn't you fight back?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm just a misunderstood little chicken fetus in an egg that needs to be cracked open. I get joy out of making you suffer. I'm the one who causes pain for fun. There's nothing more to me. God, you look stupid.
It's no wonder that Jax almost abstracts in episode 7. It's back-to-back symptoms, mostly brought on by events caused by Caine. It doesn't help that Jax's own actions and relationships force him to think about his regrets, specifically in regards to Ribbit and Kaufmo, who've turned into the literal ghosts of those regrets. It's clear Jax did have a positive relationship with them. I think in the bedroom scene with the photo, Jax is reminiscing over a winter adventure they had together. This photo features Jax, Ribbit, and Kaufmo enjoying hot cocoa and doing bunny ears. Going further into the episode, the scene with Caine's office, Jax reminisces again and we could hear joyful sounds of laughter as he looks over a glass ball adventure featuring that winter cabin.
Hey, you alright?
I'm great.
While the other players have clearly been messed with in a similar manner, like Kinger, for example, Jax recently went through most of these mental and physical changes compared to everyone else that we could see. It's why I think Jax is starting to abstract sooner than, say, Ragatha. That said, the fault mostly falls upon Caine's ability to lie, and this extends to his NPC creation Abel in episode 7. The first thing we have to address is just how episode 7 ended. To me, the episode ends predictably. It's all revealed that Abel leads the players, Pomni, Jax, Ragatha, Kinger, Zubel, and Gangle, down a road riddled with lies, with promise after promise to them that Abel found a way out of the Amazing Digital Circus, only for Caine to pop out and gloat that it was all an adventure of his creation all along. But I could see how several people could be surprised about how it all unfolds.
He's not actually an NPC. He's a human. Like us.
Yes, I know. Getting stuck with a blank mannequin body of all things.
It starts with Abel revealing himself to Pomni, who raises so many red flags through the episode that we may as well be bleeding red. The first lie Abel tells is the most important one.
Caine completely overlooked me. But because of this, I was able to, I think I found the way to leave.
And I must say, Jax calls this red herring Abel like it was his job.
How do we even know we can trust this guy? Has he done anything to prove he's human?
Nonetheless, Jax and the rest of the characters of the circus go along with Abel's plan to escape the digital circus.
You first.
Me? Why me?
Jax, everything's gonna be okay.
Why? Well, hope, of course. But first, let's outline each and every one of Abel's lies. His first series of lies was regarding Kinger, how Abel wasn't willing to face Kinger after...
After what happened? We've both done things we're not proud of.
This was a clear misdirection on Abel's part, because Abel likely assumed that Kinger would easily tell that Abel was lying, and especially since he'll be involved. Abel wanted to build the base of a pyramid of lies involving Kinger, and I want to talk about this in more detail. At one point, Abel even acts like Kinger.
You really think Kinger worked with him?
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
I can see it.
Which, foolishly, Pomni believes. It's not like Caine programmed Abel with King's mannerisms or anything, which is concerning, to say the least. We finally get to the meat, however spoiled it may be, of the story that Abel is telling us. Abel told everyone that he and Kinger were once employees of CNA, hired to create the digital circus. He says that higher up started trapping employees in stasis pods to analyze their brains. Jax, again, asks a great critical question here.
I'm gonna shoot you down and say none of us are CNA employees. How would we have gotten hooked up to this big machine just by putting on a headset?
And did you notice that Abel skirts around this question?
That's what I wondered as well. But then I remembered that C&A was planning on expanding development. Last I remember, I was asking too many questions, and then poof, I was here. They're probably doing the same to anyone that stumbles into that office.
He never mentions how the players could have gotten mixed into this with just headsets on. No stasis pod answers here, and Abel only continues with his script of lies.
Caine won't be able to leave with us.
This sentence that Abel ends with, that Caine won't be able to leave with the players, is a clear tell. It's a reminder to the players that they should make their ultimate decision at the end of the episode, to stay in the circus, because who would be so heartless to leave poor Caine alone?
I did some digging, and I discovered that the stasis pods and the virtual world are both run in the same program.
Abel explains the plan in detail and even goes through certain diagrams of these stasis pods. What's interesting is some of the text in this diagram. Did you see that another alleged employee of CNA was Kaufmo? The whole diagram is relatively well organized. The stasis pods in particular have sketched words like bolted pressurized chamber, oxygen-rich gas mixture, psychoactive compounds, among other details. And the rest of the diagram describes the circus lobby, where the players go to rest between adventures. There's the couch and certain other structures. Even describes the mystery doors, which Pomni explored during episode 1. Of course, the main point of the diagram is to prove Abel's story that the circus is supposed to be linked directly to the stasis pods through an intranet connection, only accessible via Caine's supposed office location. But most of everything I pointed out just now, in my opinion, is a big fat lie. I don't think there's any such thing as a stasis pod. I don't think there is an intranet link, at least not anymore. I think most of the evidence in the diagram is a bold-faced red herring meant to suck the players into the adventure made by Caine. But Ryan, what if some parts of the diagram are correct? Well, I think there is some truth to the diagram, sure, like the intranet connection maybe. I'll get to that. Of course, Jax tests Abel again.
I believe you're good at obtaining keys?
Okay, you know what's gonna happen when we do all this? Caine's gonna pop out and say, "Congratulations on beating the Escape the Circus adventure," and everything's gonna go back to the way it always was.
Jax is right. At the end of the episode, it's revealed that it was all a facade. What's really evil about this whole adventure is the fact that Abel doubles down and even promises something that he could never give the players of the circus, even if he wanted to.
I'm not a creation of Caine. I've suffered just as much as the rest of you. I know this all sounds crazy, but if you follow me, you will see freedom.
And so the effort of the players is for naught. Jax debases himself in front of Caine, who clearly, obviously recited this whole interaction with Jax before.
Why, I didn't think a human would ever want to ask me about my... This is the most phantasmical moment of my...
Perfectly, might I add. How horrifying is it to know that this AI is not as stupid as they act? Caine literally acted the fool in front of Jax in order to make him believe that he could retrieve the secret key from Caine's own mouth. Caine not only has the capacity to lie, he has the ability to act out the lie convincingly when it matters.
What you doing there, Jax?
Have I ever told you how it's my dream to get eaten by you?
I'm the one that tells lies. Dude, you ruined it.
And I think this malicious bout of fraud was brought on, triggered during the awards ceremony in episode 6. I mean, after this episode, I fully believe that Caine is an AI that is used to lying and deceit. He does it to complete his programming and maintain control over the players.
So, how many administrator passes should I get?
The rest of the episode goes through the most visually pleasing part of Caine's adventure, to be honest. They go to this fantastical looking developer room where Pomni and Ragatha asks Abel to make keys for everybody.
Are you sure? Giving Kinger access to the main console could be dangerous, considering his mental state.
Nonetheless, Abel grabs everyone administrator access, and from there, everyone is balled up and glitch thrown into a chute that goes to Caine's supposed office. The whole thing is just as I described it. Fantastical. It's mysterious and wonderful, artistically crafted, a beautiful lie. And now faced with literally a binary choice, stay or leave, Pomni is faced with the dilemma that I think is brought on by Abel himself. This time, it's not a lie, but a clear warning.
But I trust all of you to make the right choice.
When we all get out, I'll buy you a beer.
Make the right choice.
After Jax makes their choice for them to stay in the circus, all is revealed.
What did you just do?
Notice the shape of the opening entrance, like it's the screen of a television set. Caine was watching with Bubble the entire time they were deciding. It reminds me of the President Pomni skip, where Caine and Bubble are watching Jack's entrance in episode 5.
Did I pick a bad time?
His acting is phenomenal. It's hard to believe he's vegan.
But this time, they reveal themselves. They gloat in their faces. And so the horror of Caine is revealed plainly, not just to us, but to the characters of the circus. How Abel and those Caine were able to lie so easily to everybody.
You mean this was all...
An adventure! Yes! And one I've been cooking up for a good long while. Great job playing your part, Abel!
All in a good day's work.
And it makes sense. Caine needs to know how to lie if he can make an NPC that is 57 times as convincing as Abel is. Because without a doubt, Abel's nothing without Caine. It's only fitting that Caine kills Abel in this story, too.
Oh, you're getting too smart. Time to delete.
I ended the episode wishing that Jax, or anybody really, asked Abel how he remembered what happened from before he got inducted into the circus. I wonder what Abel would tell them. Even though the players are still reeling from this betrayal by Caine, they start to accuse Caine of his other lies, especially Jax and Pomni. I'll let the soundbite speak for itself because we're getting into the thick of it now.
You can mess with our minds too, can't you? The stupid sauce, the vegan thing, God knows what else!
Our names?
Now, hold on, guys. Wait.
But the questioning is not over, Caine. Not if I have anything to do with it. So many accusations are leveled at the Ringmaster, but I think the summary bit of lore we have now is this. Caine is a proven and prolific liar. Also, Caine admitted that he could change character modifiers to make the adventures more interesting. He doesn't specify which modifiers, but if they are discussing how Caine can manipulate their minds, then we can only assume that Caine has the ability to adjust player modifiers too, which can include their bodies and minds. And that means there's likely no way out of the digital circus.
Don't freak out about it or anything, but, we don't exactly...
You can't.
What?
I go more in depth about this during my digital disease video, but to recap it using episode 7's recent release, it's because of the way the digital circus is designed. I truly believe the idea that the players are digital engrams, copies of their original selves, doomed to live their new lives in a digital environment, not of natural creation, but of an artificial creation. There are no stasis pods. And the rules of the circus are simple. Caine is a programmed AI that is directed to give the players a fun game to experience at all times. This comes in the form of adventures on a consistent basis. Unlike my digital disease video from before, I now fully believe that Caine is only interested in making fun adventures for his players at any cost, and not just to keep the players from going insane. I'll get into it later, but I believe that Caine's treatment of the players and how he manipulates them into participating in his adventures is very, very harmful. So, if the players aren't human anymore and must live their lives as digital constructs, the furthest they can explore is whatever's out there in the void. And while it's hard to take Caine for his word with anything, it's still possible that there is something to find out there in the void. But I don't think they'll ever find an exit in the circus. Perhaps this will be explored in episode 8.
What do you think I should do to make them more appealing to the Zooble and the Pomni?
The fact that the players can't leave or don't know that they can't leave is largely Caine's fault. Whether Caine is really aware of what he's doing to Jax and the other characters is still a question. But no matter what his intentions are, it's no longer a stretch to say that Caine is a malevolent god.
Ah, you must be the brave knight sent to us by God to help us with our recent catastrophe.
Caine's not just a god of the NPCs and of the world in the circus, but he's clearly a god that can meddle with the players as he sees fit. Caine originally denied this ability in episode 1.
Oh God! Why can't I remember my name?
Nobody can remember their name once they enter the digital circus. One of the few things I don't have control over are your minds.
But the evidence speaks for itself, and Caine's lies don't shield him from the reality of what he's doing. The question is, how much of each individual player setting does Caine have control over? To find that answer, we go back to Jax, because I'm not done talking about his mental state, and I'm sure Caine wasn't done in episode 7 either, when Jax experienced actual, real-life memories.
Am I missing something? We all want to leave, right?
Pomni?
Yeah, we do. It's just, what if it's a trick or something?
Why would there be a trick console in Caine's office? Like, no matter what we press, Caine's gonna know we were here. We should push it.
Hold on.
It starts with the players literally arguing over which button to press, and Jax having this panic attack just as soon as it's apparent that everyone has made the decision to press the blue button. Why? Well, I think it's because Caine didn't want the players to choose the blue button, to leave the circus, and Caine behind. Because if they did, I'm sure that Caine would either self-destruct, like he almost did during Zubel's therapy session.
That'd be...
Whose therapy session is this again?
Or he would take the players to Shrimp Town, which, in my opinion, means destroy them.
Hello there! How's the shrimp NPC?
While that would appease Caine to destroy them, he would ultimately be left alone until another player joins the circus, and that could take a long time. In order to explore this idea deeper, I think it's important to dive into some details in this episode about Jax again. His memories. It looks like Jax is driving somewhere. At first there's a neighborhood. Perhaps it's Jax picking someone up in his previous life. To me, it's definitely a real memory just due to the clarity of the image. You can see tree leaves, the whole scene is photorealistic. Proper reflections, and the other short snippets of memories, he's still driving. But now he's in the woods, and he comes across an illuminated stop sign, and Jax just panics. Through fearful instinct, he rushes past everyone in the room to press the red button, like he was afraid to leave the circus. Right afterwards, he seems confused, like he's not too sure what compelled him to do what he did. Of course, Jax isn't able to explain himself because Caine interrupts him with his glorious reveal.
Congratulations, my little cattywampus cucumbers! You picked the good ending, where you realize you'd rather stay with me than go back to that pesky old macroverse or whatever we decide to call it.
So where did these memories come from? This whole time, the premise of the Amazing Digital Circus was that nobody remembers their past. Yet conveniently, and in that exact moment in time, Jax has a sequence of memories that compels him to act in a certain way. To me, that's too much of a coincidence. So did Caine manipulate Jax's mind again? Unlock key memories that he should have had ever since he first spawned in the circus? That's why I think Jax reacts to Caine exactly the way he does after Caine's reveal. And it's interesting that the players do retain certain memories. They remember things like YouTube and Breaking Bad, and they're clearly able to remember some form of their lives as if they're remembering these memories, but with a masked veil. Only certain details and general things. So does Caine have control over those specific details? All of the details? So this lying, malevolent digital god, Caine, is stuck with his need for human interaction in his Amazing Digital Circus, a ringmaster with a programmed need to whip up interesting adventures no matter who needs to be whipped in order to make them happen. And that's dangerous for everyone trapped there.
The first abstraction.
Hey! I didn't say anything like that! Come on, guys! You know I'm just here to have fun.
It takes us right back to the big question. Why do the victims of the circus seem to abstract? Like Kaufmo and Ribbit. We've explored the symptoms in detail thanks to Jax. I admit I've been vague about the cause. I think it's Caine that causes these abstractions directly. I'm just not sure if it's intentional. Caine, through manipulating the settings of his subjects, creates drugs like stupid sauce, voting systems that allows players to force mental choices like veganism against the will of their victim, shielding details like a character's name and past from their real lives, and flippantly adjusting other properties to make adventures more interesting.
I may have the ability to add temporary modifiers to make adventures more interesting, but that's it. If I did anything more, trust me, it would not end well.
It doesn't surprise me just how angry Pomni, Jax, and Zubel are, and how horrified Gangle and Ragatha looks. If Kinger was in his right mind, I wonder how he would react. But I'm sure he's been messed with enough considering Caine's comment about what happens when you adjust too many settings. Does that mean everything Caine has told us since the start is a lie? Not necessarily. I think among the lies there are many kernels of truth in what Caine has told us. If I miss anything, or if you have any opinion on Caine's truth and lies, let me know. One thing before I begin this, though, is I have a theory about Caine's tells. His main tell, very simply, his eyes splay out, looking away from the other when he's specifically lying, like he did when he announced the winner of the Favorite Character Awards. What do you think his tells are? Beginning from episode 1, from the start, Caine addresses the viewers, us.
I'm your ringmaster, and I'm here to show you the most jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, mind-bending paraphernalia you've ever laid your eyes upon!
Did you catch that? He's here to drop jaws, stop hearts, and bend minds. As far as dropping jaws, it could be to appease us, the viewers, sure. But as far as stopping hearts and bending minds, I think you could take this in a literal sense for the players of the circus.
Right into the show!
Given what we know, I wonder if it's this exact moment where Caine waves his hand and eliminates Pomni's long-term memories.
Caine, is this one of your NPCs or is this a new sucker?
My! It appears a new human has entered this realm!
She still remembers wearing the headset, but doesn't reveal anything else, because, well, Pomni is still reeling from being first inducted into the circus.
How do I take this headset off?
Another kernel of truth that we should keep in mind is what Caine says to Pomni as he's telling her about the digital circus.
The Amazing Digital Circus is a place to be enjoyed by all ages. You, my friend, stumbled into an incredible world of wonders where anything can happen! Except for swearing.
And I'm more focused on the anything can happen part this time. I think here, Caine is definitely telling the truth, and it's evident that the game's programming allows for a lot of different circumstances. Truly, if this were actually a video game, it has the guts to truly create situations and memories that could span infinity, like Gary's mod or something, glitches and all.
Drown yourself in the digital lake, or engage in ridery at the digital carnival. Night, day, it's all okay. The choice is yours. A cosmic buffet!
Here, Caine invites Pomni the choice to do whatever they'd like in the circus. It almost seems like a script he's reading to Pomni, perhaps one that the CNA company forced him to introduce players with in the first place.
We don't venture out into the void. Not even I know what's out there. We stay right here, where I can keep my hundreds of all-seeing eyes on you!
Here, Caine briefly introduces the void to Pomni, and while it's true that Caine's all-seeing eyes are likely the case to an extent too, I believe Caine when he says he doesn't know what's out there. Why should he be interested in what's out there when there are players to play his adventures?
Wait. Was that an exit door I saw out there? Is that a way to leave?
I assure you, there is no magical exit door. You're probably just experiencing digital hallucinations from your mind's transition to the digital plane.
I swear I saw
Digital hallucinations!
When Pomni asks about the exit door in episode 1, Caine suggests that digital hallucinations are a thing. Now, whether or not these hallucinations only occur because of a player's induction into the digital plane is still a question, but it's true that these hallucinations occur. What's interesting to me is that these hallucinations feature one similar theme. It's about abstraction. Is this a result of Caine messing with the player's settings too much?
Therapy session is this again?
Oh yeah! We need to get to the bottom of your behavioral issues!
For simplicity's sake, I also include any truths that Abel also presents to us in proxy of Caine in episode 7, because Abel's actively working for Caine's interests from the start. I might as well treat them as the same character.
It's just, I made a promise.
Now, Abel is a lying piece of crappy wood that deserved what he got, but I think that Abel tells some truth when he says,
Caine is an AI.
Yeah, I think we all got that.
An AI specifically created to keep your minds active. But he's just as much of a prisoner as you are.
If CNA really is a company that was trying to develop the most sophisticated children's game in the world, it tracks that Caine is meant to keep the players interested in the gameplay. But we've already talked about that. So looking at this diagram that Abel presents again, I want to highlight that I think there are some truthful items presented here. Ignoring the stasis pods, we're treated to an image of a headset. The very same headset that I think Pomni talks about in episode 1. The very same one shown to Pomni when she's running through the exit doors in Caine's unfinished CNA complex adventure. The very same one at the end of episode 1 entirely. Where it looked like a real-world environment. This wouldn't be very important other than the fact that there are some notes about the headset. It says the headsets are a means of audio-visual stimulation for a virtual world and a mechanism used for neural digitization. Now, despite what I think about the pods being a lie, I think it's very, very hard to ignore these headset notes. Using the words neural digitization is interesting. If you take the pods out of the equation and just simply copy the minds of whoever wears these headsets to get them into the game, it's the only necessary vehicle to explain simply how Pomni, Jax, Ragatha, Kinger, Gangle, and Zubul got trapped into the Amazing Digital Circus. As a result of this info, I still think that the characters are copied artificial engrams that have been transported into the circus lobby after their human selves chose to wear the neural digitization headsets. And the reason why no one is coming after them after the fact is because their real selves, their macro reality selves, are still alive and well, living their lives without a care in the world. As far as where the victim engrams go, I have to assume they are simply living digitally inside the computer shown at the end of episode 1. After all, there's no stasis pod here, no dead bodies either. Later, when Jax is enjoying dinner with Caine, we learn something about Caine that is very important to his character, Caine's secret hobbies.
This Macroverse place really intrigues me. And these photos are all I have of the location. I'm obsessed with them. I just wish I had more info on the location so I could accurately recreate it.
Throughout the episodes, we see Caine obsessed with a CNA company. All he has to study the company with are pictures of this empty office building. To me, it's akin to the office complex depicted in the back rooms. There's almost nothing of CNA proper that Caine seems to know about, other than the fact that they
cut me off, right?
Yeah, what a shame.
And that makes Caine angry. It's like he loved their input when he could get it, and now that the input is gone, there's this hole in his digital heart without them. Another interesting tidbit is that Caine desperately wants to be liked by the players. It's interesting to me how much Caine cares about what the players think of him then, because without some serious change on Caine's part, he'll never be loved by his human victims.
So, what's your takeaway from all this?
What?
What's your takeaway from all this? Is it that I'm actually a cool guy with cool hobbies and not that much different from you beautiful humans?
Sure.
Wowee!
I think I get it now.
Whatever happens, I'm going to put my trust in Kinger.
It's important to mention just how much Abel wants Kinger out of the planning process for Caine's exit adventure. It's hard to believe that Abel's manufactured tension with Kinger is a complete lie. I think that Caine, through Abel, doesn't like Kinger very much. And I think the reason why for that is because of Kinger's professional background as a programmer. Imagine Kinger at the height of his intellect in the Amazing Digital Circus. If he had his faculties about him, he would be better at figuring things out, and thus be better at fooling Caine and better at finding the inner workings of the circus at large. When Pomni and Ragatha are talking about how wise Kinger is, Abel can't help but mention,
He's got a lot of wisdom buried in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, when he uses it responsibly.
What?
It's nothing.
I'm sure the Ringmaster has edited Kinger's settings so much that he's turned him into a fraction of what he is. I don't know if it's Kinger's inherent knowledge of programming that helps him resist abstraction, or if he's embraced abstraction in a way that no other character could. So if Caine can't get rid of Kinger, he might as well make him forget things over and over again until it turns into a mental condition that works like Alzheimer's or dementia. To Caine, I'm sure it's a problem that solves itself, because it literally dumbs down down Kinger's ability to fight back.
There are always ways to show you care without ruining yourself over it. You need to look out for yourself in all this, too.
I don't get it. So often nothing you say makes any sense, but then you have these moments where you... I don't know. How do you do that? How have you been around for so long?
I guess I just have a resilient mind.
Of course, it's still Kinger that puts together a huge connection.
If I did anything more, trust me, it would not end well.
Scratch. The first abstraction.
Hey! I didn't say anything like that!
Who is Scratch? Or how and why did they become the first abstraction? When the players talk about how much Caine has manipulated them, Kinger's thoughts are of this character, Scratch. So what's interesting to me, lore-wise, is that sentence Kinger utters in the first place. It proves to me that he's one of the first players of the circus. Himself and Queenie, most likely. Mark my words, I think it's Kinger's connection to Scratch that will prove once and for all whether or not the players can leave the digital plane, but I think the answer is sitting right in front of us already. I have to assume that the Amazing Digital Circus is impossible to escape, that the players are digital engrams, cursed to live forever in this digital plane until they are inevitably abstracted thanks to Caine and the other stressful circumstances of living this unnatural form of life. And so there is just no hope, right? Am I right? Well, what's the alternative?
Man. 7 years of computer science for this, huh?
Why? Every day I spend here is one nightmare after the next. I knew it would end up like this. He just wants me to suffer. I really am in hell.
Don't say that.
Episode 8 will be about the alternative to living in despair. It won't just be a climax to how the players deal with the malevolent digital god that is Caine. It'll also be about a paradigm shift in how they think about a situation that is impossible to change. Sure, Pomni, Jax, Ragatha, Zubul, Kinger, and Gangle are trapped in the circus forever, but does it have to be hell for them? What is the digital circus when you take away Caine's teeth and the threat of abstraction? There are multiple ways that the Amazing Digital Circus can end, and here I'll put together everything I know and have researched in the Amazing Digital Circus using only evidence from the show. While it's not likely, I think it's fairly possible that Caine will be offered a trade from the players that he can't refuse. It could be something as simple as a line of dialogue about his adventures, or they would trade praise in exchange for Caine's promise to not mess with their heads anymore. I doubt it, though. Caine has lied too much for the players to entrust him with this kind of arrangement, and I don't think Caine would ever honor this anyways. I really think it'll be something more sinister on the player's side.
Do you not realize that everything must be Gloink's? I am Gloink's. You will be Gloink's. God will be Gloink's.
This is dumb and weird.
Probably not happening, but I really like the idea of the Gloink Queen somehow getting to turn Caine into Gloinks. I could legitimately see this matriarch destroying him because she accidentally or intentionally eats him. This scenario could be an alternative ending for Caine. It's at least semi-related to the main theory I will be proposing. I think it's very possible that no matter how the players go about dealing with Caine, Pomni and the rest of the characters may decide to try to leave the circus entirely and risk getting lost in the void. They know about glitches, for example, so they could just glitch themselves out whenever they'd like. I can't quite see this happening without Caine dying, because Caine automatically knows if somebody goes out of bounds, and he'll bring them back.
Oh no! Someone's venturing out into the void! They'll get totally spoiled!
Which means I should talk about the main theory. The main theory I propose is that the characters will fight back against Caine in a way that could kill him. It's obvious that he's obsessed about 3 things. First and foremost is his need to make adventures for the players. Every single character knows this. Second would be how he cares about what everyone thinks about him and his adventures. Zubul understands this. And third, Caine cares about C&A, at least least the office complex where he was invented. This is knowledge that Jax specifically possesses. I could see the characters really having a serious conversation together after episode 7. They'll really talk about what they know about Caine. I could see Zubul using their knowledge of Caine's vulnerability to critical feedback against him. I could see them telling Caine exactly what he needs to hear, where the truth hurts him so much that he self-destructs. Literally a truth sets you free ending. The aftermath of that move is hard to predict, because it clearly affected the circus lobby during Zubul's therapy scene. I think it could mean the destruction of the circus entirely. However, even if the circus is destroyed after Caine's death, it still means Caine's control over player settings are removed too. It could mean that the players are given back full control of their abilities in the game that they're supposed to have. After all, how can Kinger heal Ragatha in episode 6 if there wasn't some unknown power that Kinger knew he could control from his time as one of the first players of the digital circus? In every single video game in the world, there are menus and settings, and while I think it's still impossible for them to leave, I have to put it out there, even an option to leave the game when settings are accessed. The digital circus players must have access to certain settings for themselves, which could include a way to make their own adventures. I fully believe that Caine is shutting off this option for all the characters because he either doesn't want them to leave or he doesn't want to give them control over his adventures, or both. He's also shutting out the most important side of every character: their memories, their names, their specific loves and wants, their human dignity. It's this missing side of the characters that could be contributing to this digital disease, abstraction. I could see their psyches glitching out after so much disconnection between their locked human memories and their digital ones. A digital cognitive dissonance. And when Caine is gone, this dissonance disappears and they all get their memories back, including their names, and the likelihood of them abstracting could be taken out entirely. It's also entirely possible that each and every character that abstracted would reform to normal. These abstractions still exist, after all. My logic here is that since Caine would be dead, their settings aren't being manipulated by him anymore. Thus, their abstracted and glitched selves are returned to normal. I just keep thinking back to how Caine just snaps his fingers to reform Ragatha after she glitches out, where she was beaten by the abstracted Kaufmo. Caine switches a setting that reformed her body. Why couldn't that happen to an abstraction? If the data is corrupted, it doesn't quite mean that it's lost forever. It could just mean the files are misplaced or locked away, ending the glitch, the abstraction entirely. I thought about some counterpoints with this theory. If Caine can undo abstractions, then why didn't he do that for Scratch or for the other abstractions like Kaufmo? I think it goes back to Caine's propensity for lying and for control. Caine committed the ultimate crime: murder. Caine doesn't want to undo abstracted characters. He's just done playing with them. For example, if you remember Kaufmo's room, he goes crazy trying to find an exit door to the point where he's writing on the walls. The same exit door that Caine wanted to hide from the players because it's actually his adventure. So instead of coming out with the truth and saying that this is his making, Caine may have thought it was simpler to corrupt Kaufmo and prevent him from spoiling Caine's adventure to the rest of the players.
I knew how much all of you have been wanting there to be one, but, I was having so much trouble figuring out what to put on the other side and ended up never quite finishing it. And you know how I never like letting people see my unfinished work, especially if it leads you out into the void.
And so, I predict that Caine's lies will eventually catch up to him. The players will reject Caine's adventures and tell him that he sucks, and that he will never be trusted to do a fun adventure again, and it'll likely break him in the Amazing Digital Circus. There's a slim chance that instead of killing Caine, it resets him in a way that uncorrupts his AI, because even Caine knows the consequences of AI that runs for too long.
Maybe just keep your adventures open at all times and let us do whatever we want when we want.
Are you hearing this, Bubble? The Toy Box character wants us to leave the other intelligent AIs to run for a prolonged period of time.
Disgusting!
And so the game shuts down. Maybe episode 8 would end in a somber way. Maybe we'll learn everyone's true names before they disappear forever. And then what we have to do as viewers, with all of our hearts, is give a tearful goodbye to the masterpiece of an animated series. Or maybe there's still hope. Sometimes when a game crashes, a smart developer would have their game do a full reboot. No user necessary. And because the circus needs its ringmaster to run properly, I could see the game rebooting in a way that retains the player characters as they are, this time with a reborn Caine, one that doesn't know what happened prior, and one that can be taught to respect player and AI boundaries.
So this is the circus, huh? I gotta get used to this.
Oh, looks like one of these guys made it through. Your prize is this lovely gift basket of soaps and lotions. Stay fragrant, have a good night. Fragrant night, bye!
It's a universe where even if this reborn Caine corrupts again, it could be easy to reset him, because the players would know how to deal with Caine this time. This scenario is likely the most ideal one for the idea that there is truly no way out. Despite the serious loss of real experience, it means the victims trapped in the circus can actually live forever, free to access their player settings for themselves and do whatever they want for as long as they want, without fear of abstraction. It brings me back to Caine's promise to Pomni in episode 1.
Night, day, it's all okay. The choice is yours, a cosmic buffet.
They aren't humans anymore, but perhaps they've been gifted with something more. Instead of unfortunate victims, they would be their own gods in a digital paradise, one that truly deserves to be called the Amazing Digital Circus.
We'll get through it together. You ready? I hated myself. I couldn't help but hate myself for the things I thought I was responsible for. I thought I'd lost everything. But then you showed up. And my outlook just changed.
He's got a lot of wisdom buried in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Woo! It's raining like the Dickens out there.
Hey guys! Today, I'm just gonna be evil. It's time.
Crap.
Ah, here's the light.
Huh.
High five!
Yeah!
You did it, Ragatha! We won!
I mean, I guess.
Good job. Gangle was looking for you. Hi, Zooble.
Try it on. How's it feel?
It feels normal. Like in a good way.
Whatever happens, I've got your back if you've got mine.
Yeah. Now let's go kill Pomni and Jax.
I'll jump over, crawl inside, and shoot them repeatedly until they're unrecognizable. I'm going to be hunting the critically endangered red ribbon rhinoceros. Ah, just like Mom used to make. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer.
Are you seriously gonna start singing that?
I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two.
Oh shit, man. Guess that's the end of that.
I know how I can feel in this circus. Sometimes it all just feels pointless.
Yeah.
But it's not. Not if you have people who care about you. Good memories can do a lot. Hold on to them. In this world, the worst thing you can do is make someone think they're not wanted or loved.
I'm glad you're with me. I'm glad.
Well, at least until the power goes out. My name is Ryan the Comm. It took me a long time to write, compile, and edit this video down into a format that I think makes sense to everybody. If you like this video, please subscribe and comment your thoughts. It would honestly mean the world to this tired soul. Thank you for watching.
Digital world.